Hello, and welcome to this week's Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm Paula, your host, and today it's the exciting topic of systems. But bear with me because there is a very good reason why we need systems, and it's not all boring and it's not all overwhelming or a headache. So I wanted to share with you some of my experiences in my business with regard to systems, so hopefully you can do something different in your business too. So let's go to the show. As the co-founders of the Landscaper Circle, we help you get more money, time and freedom to become limitless through our experiences as fellow landscapers and our tried and tested methods. If you want help with your marketing, managing or growing your business, you've definitely come to the right place. If you're a landscaper, garden designer or supplier to the industry, then hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show. Hello guys, and welcome to the Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm Paula, your host. How are you doing? We had a week off last week, so we are back to it this week with the podcast. And something that I am currently working on in my landscaping business is implementing systems. Now, I cheated slightly because I chose to employ Nicola De Piazzi, our systemologist, to help me identify systems, implement systems and all of that jazz. So it made it slightly easier, although there is still work to do here. I'm by no means done, and I'm by no means anywhere near finished or perfectly executing on the systems. I'm not in a perfect place. However, I did want to share some experiences because ultimately something that Nicola said to me in one of the last meetings was that essentially it's not often a problem that you're solving. It's a system that you haven't got that creates the problem that you're trying to solve. So a lot of the problems we have in our businesses, particularly small business owners, is that we don't have systems to deal with it. So people are not following systems and problems are created. Now, it's very simple to start documenting your systems, yet most people put this off because they think, oh my God, there's so many things that I do. There's so many things the business does. Where do we start? The first thing I wanted to say is just get started, because if you never start, you're never going to have any systems and you're going to be constantly in this place for years and years. We're in year 14 of Aura Landscapes and we are finally executing some solid systems within the business. That means that myself and my husband Mike can take some steps away. Now, what I would suggest you do, and it's something that Nicola says and is documented in the systemology book, is that you just start by basically noting down all your services and what happens when someone inquires through to the sale. And that will give you your first set of systems, to be fair. It's pretty easy to find out. You can sit and brainstorm with your team and work out what things they do that you can then systemize and create systems from. And most importantly, it's about then developing those systems, testing the systems so they work, and then obviously implementing the systems and making sure people work to the systems. The main aim is that the systems will run your business and the people run the systems. It's just a really important thing that I think most people put off, and I know I did for so long. And it's only now that I'm getting into the nitty-gritty of developing systems, implementing testing, documenting, all of that, that I realize that systems really are the solution to most of your business problems. Because if we get clear systems in place, we can get people to adhere to those systems. And if they don't, it's a performance thing. It's a management thing. You can get people to do the systems for you. You can get a system champion like I have as my admin lady, Anne-Marie. She's our systems champion and I sit down and work with her on systems each week. So the second thing I would urge you to do is, once you've started documenting the systems in place that you want to start with, is that you set some time aside each week to work on systems as a thing. Because not only are you going to have to document the systems and create the systems and work out what systems you need, you then, like I said, have to test them. And then most importantly, you've got to get them implemented and basically adhered to by the rest of the team, which is going to take some doing anyway, because you've got to get team buy-in, you've got to make it very attractive to them to do it, you've got to make it as easy as possible for them to access the systems in order for them to use the systems and all of that jazz. So it's really important that you set some time aside at least once a week to work on that. Otherwise, like what it would take you 14 years to get to the position I'm in now, where I'm just slowly starting to implement these systems. Number 3 is the purpose of being a systems-led business is the fact that your business can run without you there. I think this is something that we've struggled with over the years, having the correct staff in place to be able to run the business while we're not here. When we go on holiday, or if we've had to take a break, or you're ill, all these things can happen. And if you don't have systems, it makes that a hell of a lot harder to be able to do. If you do have systems and everyone's following the systems, then essentially it's much, much more easier to move away from the business, so to speak. I want to ask you what your exit plan is, because if your exit plan is to step away from the business, pass it on, sell it, close it, whatever you might do, then you need to have systems in place so that, particularly if you want to sell it, it's going to be more attractive to someone, it's not reliant on you, and also so that you can actually start stepping away before you actually exit the business, however that looks to you. So it's really important to think about these things now, because it will enable you to have a much better work-life balance. Now, when I first set up TLC, my aim was to help others come off the tools more, because that's all I kept hearing from people. I want to be off the tools. I don't get any family time. I don't get any time to myself because I'm constantly working in the business, on the business. And that was kind of the purpose of setting up TLC, to help others have a better work-life balance. Well, a key element to this that I've kind of realized over the years of running my own business is systems. And they really are the key to having a better work-life balance, having more family time, having more freedom. Because essentially, once you have structure and systems that people can follow, and you've made it easy, and you've made them obvious and attractive, and you've made them an integral part of the business and an part of the business ethos, then you can step away more. You don't have to be fully in the business. You're not going to be the person that keeps being asked the same questions over and over again, because what you would then do is point them to a system. And that's the 4th point I wanted to bring to this podcast today is, what are the questions that you keep getting answered? Because if there's specific questions that you keep getting asked by your team, you need to put a system in place so that they can find that answer themselves. You need to have the system there to show them the answer, essentially. And if you've got the correct systems in place, what can then happen is, when they do ask you a question, you can direct them to the process or system that will give them the answer to that, and they can do it themselves. So having systems is quite empowering as well, because essentially you're putting the onus back on your staff, and then it's up to them to be able to follow the systems correctly in order to fulfill their job role and to have a great performance as a member of your team, and obviously to work towards the main goals of your business. Number 5 is really thinking about, what is the vision for your business? Because if you are just hoping to stay as a small business, one-man band, that's absolutely fine. I would not bother wasting your time and effort and energy on systems. However, if, like myself, you aspire to have a bigger team, multiple teams, maybe multiple facets of the business. So for me, I've got garden design, maintenance, planting, and hard landscaping as well. Systems are really quite key, particularly as you're taking on more staff. So it's really important that you start getting those systems in place as soon as you can. I left it, and I have left it quite a long time. And what is becoming quite apparent to me at this particular point in my business is, I can't move forward with a different outcome than before if I don't input and implement systems. And secondly, if I don't get people to adhere to those systems, because it's one thing having systems, but it's also another getting the buy-in from everyone in your team, and also then managing their adherence to systems. Because if they refuse to work to a system, then are they really the right fit for your business, for the vision you have for your business going forward? Because it will be more of a hindrance having them, even if they are a great worker, it will be more of a hindrance if they can't adhere to basic systems that you are putting in place to make your business what you want it to be, to give you what you need from your life. For me, my whole aim for my business is to take a step back at some point. Not now, but the fact is, the only way I can do that is if I essentially try and make myself redundant through hiring the right staff and implementing the correct systems of how I want this business to be run. And it's really important to communicate this to your team as kind of a bigger picture conversation. Like, we are doing this because this is how I would like the business to look. This is how I see the business developing. These are the opportunities that will be available if we have a larger business. And that's the ultimate thing. At the end of the day, if you stay a small business, the opportunities are limited. If you do have a vision to grow and develop and have different arms, etc., then the opportunities for the staff you have on board now grow too. So it makes it more attractive for new people coming on board, existing staff to stay, all of these great things. But often systems get put on the back burner. I feel like it's a headache. And I agree with you. This is why it's taken 14 years to even get to this point. And I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't actually sat down with a team and gone through the reason about systems. We've had one team meeting, but I need to do more of this as we develop the systems and as we implement them, because obviously I need their buy-in to essentially work to the systems and to make the business much better than it is, because that is the sticking point at the moment. We're at a growth period where the work is there, the teams are actually really good, but systems aren't in place. So issues are cropping up, problems are happening, things are going a little bit wrong in some areas. So again, having the correct systems in place will help alleviate that, particularly as we go on to the next level of growth for our business, of which is very exciting. It's really thinking about what system can help solve a problem. What problems have you got in your business, and can you implement a system to solve them? Some things that we were advised to start with, we're starting on systems that you can control, really. So hiring, start at the beginning. When you hire someone, what systems and policies, and then looking at onboarding. So how can you onboard someone easier? And what systems could you put into place? All of this sort of exciting, boring stuff. But essentially, I can see the future and I can see my vision for the business, and I know how I want it to develop. And the only way to get there is systems. I feel like I'm just using that word constantly for the last 20 minutes, however long I've been on here, but it really is key. And I know it can seem quite overwhelming to begin with. Like I said, it's taken me this long because I felt completely overwhelmed. But the difference was I got some help. And if you've got the money in the bank to do so as well, I would definitely recommend Nicola. Also, I took on, who is my superhero in my business, is my admin lady, Anne-Marie. She's not full-time yet, that is the aim, but essentially she's taken on board and she loves the stuff I don't like. So my advice to you would be to hire someone who has a system mindset, who likes systems. Hire someone to help you on the admin side who could help you implement the systemization of your business. People who like documenting stuff, who like Excel spreadsheets, who like all these things that I truly do not like, to help you with that. Otherwise, you're never going to do it. I'm not going to lie. If Anne-Marie wasn't here, would I be doing this right now? Would I be at this point right now? Probably not, because it would have all fell to me being the business owner. I would have had to make it happen. And I just felt completely overwhelmed, and I've procrastinated on it for quite a few years. And only last year did I get Nicola involved. And then obviously Anne-Marie came on board to be able to take it that next step further. But I do urge you, if you are finding you are hitting the same problems, which is what I recently found, is that we've gone back to a point where I didn't think we would. We've incurred similar problems that I've incurred in the past because I haven't solved them with a system, and that's essentially it. I haven't solved them with a system. There is no system. So no one knows what they're doing. No one knows a plan to follow. And that's down to me. So yeah, systems are the way forward, particularly if you're looking to grow. And if you are looking to grow and want someone to support and help you, then give me a call. I've got a few spots for some free discovery calls this month. So if you fancy getting in touch and want to chat about business and you're looking for some support, you just feel probably overwhelmed, you're probably procrastinating, or you're really busy with work and everything else falling by the wayside, then drop me an email, porter@thelandscaperscoach.co.uk, and I can book you in a time to suit. So that's it for this episode of the Limitless Landscapes podcast. I hope some of you have taken at least one thing away from that. I would hope you have taken at least 6 things away, if not more, that you could potentially start thinking about and actioning in your business, because that is the point of this podcast, to help you in your landscaping and garden design businesses. And if you have any topics you want me to cover that you feel that I haven't covered, or you have a question, please email me or drop me a message on Instagram or anywhere else that you find me online. I will speak to you on the next podcast. I speak at you at the next podcast. And if you love the podcast, please rate it and leave a review. I then can get in front of more people that might need some help. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week on the Limitless Landscapers podcast.